Facebook group, I just want to let you guys know the Facebook group coaching that we had this weekend is now posted, and in Facebook it stays posted private only for our group for 30 days. And then the ideal partner meditation, please don't miss doing it. We're going to have a new meditation this week. We have a new meditation every week, but please don't miss that one. Okay, even if you already have a partner, this will help realign you. It's about you, not necessarily a partner, but realign you with the person that you were meant to be in terms of the romantic signature that you were meant to have before life killed some of that in all of us. Okay, so I want to read the testimonial I got first. This queen says, New York manifestation success story. Hi Mona, I hope you are well. I just wanted to email, say I've been listening to at least one of your lives every single day for weeks now. I'm not a stalker. They just help me so much with focusing my mind. Thank you. I told you when I purchased your 60-day challenge, I wanted to manifest moving to New York. Before listening to your content, this seemed like a pipe dream as I don't work a full-time job and I also had to move in with my aunt last October. Regardless, I have been focusing on this intention and on being in awareness as much as possible with my thoughts, words, and 3D. I have bought your 60-day challenge more to support your channel and actually haven't even started yet. Just scripting every night a detailed routine of my life in New York City. But about a week ago, I came home to a neighbor of my aunt sitting in the kitchen chatting with her. I've got to know this man well over the past few months as he often calls to check on her, mowing the lawn, etc. She had told him about my plans to go to New York, which I do not share with people as per your instruction, but felt compelled to tell her, which was weird. Then he tells me that his brother had been living over there for the past 30 years and works as an apartment manager and sorts young people moving to New York City with accommodation and jobs, etc. He had never mentioned his brother before. I even recognized him as the manager of a football team. Hang on, because I have to go to the next screen, of a football team from Instagram photos. How strange. Also, a while ago, my aunt gave me a flight voucher from a wedding we didn't go to because of COVID. The voucher was worth 300 euros. And it's from, she's naming some European airlines. This plus the multiple signs I was getting, I decided to just trust and book my one-way flight. Then this evening, the neighbor calls to my door and his brother literally on the phone. I had literally just been painting, thinking about New York and feeling like something just dropped, like a feeling of real, like I was going to be there and more like I am there. Painting always eases me into this state. Anyway, he shows up, puts me on the phone with his brother who tells me he can sort out both the job and the apartment. I'm blown away and so grateful. I can't wait to see what else manifests to ease my journey to New York. Thank you, Mona. I know this isn't I manifested a New York penthouse and $1 million story, but I still wanted to send it because it feels like a win for me. And that's what matters. I'm so grateful for taking the time to share your wisdom. A 25-year-old girl like me can listen. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Okay. I love this testimonial so much for many reasons. Okay. So here, what she does. So first of all, I told you the 60-day challenge that's in my bio, I don't advertise it this way, but I know for a fact it has power. Okay. It has this, because so many people have affirmed for others as part of being part of this challenge. I know for a fact that having it being in this group energy is helpful. But anyways, I don't want to spin it that way. I just know for myself. And what I want you to do, Queen, you identified yourself, Sally. I want you to actually do the challenge. Okay. I want you to do this challenge. Like, I know you got it to support my channel. There's no need to do that. This will be a benefit to you. And what I like about this testimonial is it's so inspired in terms of you weren't going to tell anyone, but you felt compelled to tell your aunt. You started to paint, to be in receive mode while you're painting, and we're going to talk about transmitting and receiving. But how you put yourself in a receive mode is by doing this activity that you love, which I love that. I love that because most of us are in receive mode just when we're listening to gossip or being around other people who are negative. But you put yourself in receive mode by doing something that you love. So in there, all the circumstances, and you're not forcing, you're not pushing, right? And then I really like the way you end. You're saying, I know this is not, I manifest $1 million and a penthouse in New York. And I want to tell you, because if you go in this work to be like, I want to get to the North Pole, I want to tell you, it's not you're gonna go to sleep, and because you wrote it 3, 6, 5, 9 times, you're gonna wake up in the North Pole. You don't even need to know where the North Pole is in order to start walking north. Remember, the universe needs a series of events in order to get you to where you're at. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're not going to manifest a penthouse and $1 million. You just got to get there first. So it's always like one step at a time. But if, as you're going through the steps, all that you're bringing in is this energy of, I don't have it yet, what's going to happen is those steps are kind of going to stop for you. Okay, so you didn't put in your mind, you understand somehow, first I got to get myself to New York. So right now I have no money, I have no connections in New York, I want to manifest myself in New York. Somehow you get prompted to tell your aunt, somehow you found some old voucher from 4 years ago into COVID. You get yourself to New York and you have somebody there waiting for you who's happens to be a connection of a connection of a connection. And that's how it starts. So you got to see this as the start of an unfolding series of events. They're going to match you with whatever you ultimately want to do. Now, pay attention. You really have to know what you want to do. Okay? Because once you get to New York, the universe has completed its task if all you wanted to do is move to New York. But of course, all you wanted to do is not just move to New York, is to be successful at something in New York, is maybe to meet the love of your life, is maybe. So remember, just because one step is completed doesn't mean step 2, 3, or 4 don't need any focus. Doesn't mean you get to New York and be like, okay, I'm here now. Now what? So I'm not telling you to figure out the how. I'm telling you to have as clear of a goal when you're in New York as you had about going to New York. And I want you to do the 60-day challenge, okay? Really do it. You will find that your mind will get so much more organized as you're doing it, and it will help you a lot, especially if you follow my instructions and you affirm for others. But congratulations on this manifestation. It's not a small thing at all. It's beautiful. It's exactly the way it's supposed to unfold. You don't know how you're going to get there, but somehow you got both the money and the contact to get there. And that's exactly how I feel you can do a better job at manifesting than the way people try to do it usually. Okay, so that's why I even tell people with body weight, let's say, because people want to lose weight. Body weight, they're 200 pounds, they want to be 120 pounds, and so they put 120 and they're losing 2 pounds, they're losing 5 pounds, it's not working out, they kind of give up. Like between 200 and 120 is too big of a difference for your mind, right? So you fall into all these fears, you can't control all these cravings. What you have to do instead is do it one step at a time. So forget the penthouse $1 million in New York. First, you got to get to New York. You got to get to New York. So it's the same idea, right? But I think many people walk away because they think all you have to do is just imagine some things and they will come to pass. And maybe this would work if the brain was trained to search for what you want. Okay? But the brain is not trained to search for what you want. In fact, quite the opposite. The brain is trained every second to search for what you know. And what you know keeps you in 3D. So, a little work, no results. Because you can do a little work, but then when you circulate in 3D, your brain searching for what you know. I lost my finger, can I manifest it back? No pun intended, right? Here's what I tell to people who make a mockery of this work. You got to understand that anything that this game, like I don't even engage, right? But I want to say something about the body. You lost a limb, you lost this. The energetic form of that thing is still present. This is why people have phantom pains. You ever heard of that? When somebody loses a leg and then they have this phantom pain in there because the energetic structure of your limb is still there. But the materialization of that limb is impossible based on the rules of this game. Right? Like it's impossible for me to turn into a black man. That's against the rules of this game. So please only stay on this live if you want to operate within the rules of 3D reality. What I wanted to talk next is transmitting and receiving. So I've done a video about how we only have 2 states. We talked about this before, but I don't think we talked about this in a while. So we're never neutral to reality, guys. We either transmitting or we're receiving. Those are our only two states. And so when you're transmitting, most people are just transmitting chaos, right? They're just transmitting what they absorbed from 3D right now. Okay, something annoyed them, they're transmitting it. Something is on their mind about their work, then transmitting it. So most people are just transmitting non-stop things they don't want, and then they wonder how come their life is full of things they don't want. What transmitting is in our work is having a clear and focused intention. Of course, that's not enough. We need to have intention, we need to have belief, we need to have connection, and we need to have expectation. And maybe I'll talk a little bit about each of these four things. But transmitting a clear intention with focus is what we are all about. But that's only part A. That's part A, right? And part B of that is you got to be in receive mode to receive it. So if you only have two states, transmitting and receiving, when you're focused, you're transmitting. You're not reacting to 3D because you don't want to transmit negativity and chaos. But now, when are you receiving? Right? When are you receiving? So the time when you are receiving, you have to be consciously aware that now I'm on receive mode. Because what happens to most people, they're in receive mode when they're in what they feel like is a safe environment, like around their friends, around their family, when they're watching their favorite show. And what happened then is they just receive what's transmitting by those mediums, right? By the friends, by the family, by the TV show, by whenever they're watching, they're relaxed, right? They're not transmitting right now. And it's very likely that your friends are gossiping. It's very likely that they're negative. It's very likely your family is negative. It's very likely the show is negative, or it has some negative belief behind it, some negative instruction, subliminal instruction behind it, such as, oh, you're always going to be cheated on, such as who knows what else. I don't even want to mention all these negative things, but we know that. So being in receive mode is something that you have to do consciously. And I got a question about, after I've done the video, somebody, a queen in our group, emailed me and said, how is it that we can stop being in receive mode around negative people? I have negative people in my life I can get rid of, probably at work, or maybe like her mom or friends, very close friends that she doesn't want to get rid of. How can I not be in receive mode around them? And that's a very pertinent question, right? So there are a few things you can do to close your receive mode when you know you have to deal with negative people. One of those things is actually to tag people in your mind as output only. Okay? So when you interact with a person, and you can do this before, like, those 5 people in your life that are very negative. When you interact with those people, in your mind already, you can sit down now and be like, which people in my life I'm going to tag as output only. Like, I'm not internalizing anything from them. Okay? It's just my output is going to them. It's not output input. It's just output. I'm spending time with this friend. I'm happy to give her a perspective. I'm happy to tell her about me, but it's output only. And in your mind, have like this person X, Y, and Z is output only. And it has to be very, very clear to you. You don't want to absorb anything from that person, from these people. So for example, I also have people in my life that I tag output only. And that's like my family, a couple of my friends, or a couple of people I have to interact with in social situations that I can't get rid of. And also all of my one-on-one clients, right? So if you get on a call with me, I have to tag you in my mind output only, because I don't want to absorb anything from all of these people that I'm interacting with, right? Make sure in your mind, when it's input output and when it's output only. Also, I recommended everybody puts a light bubble around themselves before they enter any environment where there's a lot of people. This could be, you could do your bubble before you walk into your big corporation, definitely before you walk into an event, like where there's a lot of people, a conference or Christmas party or whatever events that the people there are mostly strangers and you don't know what they're outputting. So you don't want to internalize it, right? So the light bubble around you before you enter the room. Another tip is don't respond energetically. Don't respond energetically when the other person is speaking. How do we respond energetically? When we empathize inside ourselves with what they're saying, and you're kind of getting to feel what they were feeling during that breakup, during that time when they were worried and stressed. And it shows in your body, right? Because you move your forehead, you're like, oh yeah, or the tone of your voice is very sympathetic. So those are all energetic responses. Don't do energetic responses. And in addition to that, I want everybody to decide on a state that they are in the beginning of the day. So this is my state. I choose to vibrate. I'm happy. I'm clinging to my happiness. Think of something good, positive, and I make the conscious decision that nobody can knock me off this course that I'm on right now. So that's the idea. Okay, the idea is you set the tone for your own state. You tag people in advance that you're never going to absorb their input. You create your energetic bubble around you before going into any crowded place, and you don't respond energetically when someone negative is talking to you. You don't respond empathetically. And someone negative, it's not necessarily negative like they're meaning to hurt you. It's just like they're down, they're depressed. Right? You kind of remember how therapists, how can they deal with all these people who come into their office? That's how they deal with it. They're trained in this. They're trained to shut their mind and to just offer perspective from a professional perspective and not internalize otherwise they would go nuts themselves, right? In a few months of practice, they would go nuts. And still, I'm still not sure that you can stop every single input from coming your way. It also depends on how powerful the other person is, or if they're doing it purposely or not. But anyways, that's not the purpose of this discussion. I'm gonna take a sip of my juice here and see if there's any questions, and before I move on to the next topic. Thank you for sending me testimonials and everything. Let's see. Don't see anything here that I can talk about that will keep me on track. I'm manifesting new friends, but nothing yet. Any advice? Don't manifest new friends. You have to become the friend that you want to be first. There's a lot of work that you have to do on yourself to become somebody's friend. There's a sense of worth that you have to have about yourself, of what you bring to the table in a friendship. Do you know what I mean? So if you're trying to manifest friends from a perspective, I'm lacking friends, I'm lacking people to support me, I'm lacking support. Remember, don't look for support in people. Support comes from above, from around us, from our connection with the formless substance. You are returned. Everyone who is in your life is not there accidentally. Or if you don't have anyone in your life, that's not accidentally either. As long as you're an adult, right? If you're an 8-year-old child, it's the fault of your parents, it's the fault of society. But if you're 28 and you have no friends, you only have to work on you. So I want to talk about, just because it came up, intention, belief, connection, and expectation. So these are all sort of transmitting and connecting. Intention, don't mistake intention for desire. And please do not desire anything that you don't expect. So always expect everything that you're projecting, and don't desire anything that you don't expect to happen. So for example, what does this mean? If you're a 65-year-old woman and you have sweet eyes for your 30-year-old male neighbor, that's not a desire that you should project as an intention. Okay? If you're sitting there at night thinking of his arms around you and all this stuff, you are wasting precious energy that you could be using to create something better for yourself. If you are, again, a 60-year-old person who's just an average person, and you're projecting out there becoming the president of the United States, that's not going to happen either. Remember, what can happen is what's possible based on the previous thread of the decision making and the headspace we are at. That's what they mean by the multiverse. The multiverse is not actually infinite. It's limited by who you are and what would have been possible for that person at any point in time. That's how the universe splits into these multiple versions of ourselves. Now, if you have a normal life and many things are possible for you, okay? Like what's possible for everybody is to be loved. What's possible for everybody is to have a home, to have a roof over their head, to not worry about the basic necessities of life, to be healthy, to be fit. All of these things are possible for everybody at any age. But there are certain things that are not in your lifeline and they're not possible. And as you progress through life, some of those lifelines close, right? Some of those, like you can train, you can act on your dream of becoming an astronaut when you're 55 and learn and train. They're not going to put you into space by the time you graduate at 62. They're not going to put you in space. That lifeline is closed for you. You have to make peace with the lifelines that are closed on you and do not have those desires. Those desires waste your energy. That headspace that you're spinning, desiring either people or circumstances that are completely out of your lifeline, if you use common sense, those things, if you don't drop them, and if they haven't come to pass in the last year, 18 months, no movement have been made in that direction, you have to drop it because it's spinning energy. Ask yourself, is my desire what is promised to everyone? Love, health, a nice home, a comfortable life, the ability to see the world. These are a few things, like a prosperous life. Or is my desire out there to meet Jeff Bezos and replace Lauren Sanchez? Some of these desires can consume you and not produce any results for you. Are you guys with me on this? Somebody says I tend to get detailed revenge fantasies when I'm angry, but I don't want them to happen. Drop that as soon as you can. Drop that. Remember, you know how in religion it says revenge is God's? God will avenge you. You know, there's a lot of truth in this. So, you know, if you don't believe in God, the formless, always, like the energy is always balanced in such way that if you are in the right, it will balance. But really, you should not send your energy into punishing that person, because that's still your energy. Remember, you get a limited amount to work with. So what's more important to you, creating your life better or punishing another person? I guess that's part of the free will choice that we have, right? So drop every desire that you don't expect to happen. Don't fantasize about it. Don't have it in your head. Your intention has to be clear and has to be possible on a reasonable sort of basis. Oh, you want to move to New York? Of course, everybody can move to New York of any age, right? So that's a very reasonable expectation for somebody to have. Beliefs, okay? You have to believe that whatever you're intending is possible, but it's more than that. When you are under the category of belief, you have to examine both negative and positive beliefs. So you may work to convince yourself, I deserve this house. But like I gave an example a few lives ago for this woman, the belief that she had, which was a hidden belief, was something that was more powerful that prevented her from getting this house. So when you say, oh, I believe, yeah, I believe I can win the lottery, or whatever, but how many beliefs I have about money that would prevent money from coming to me? Have you ever said money is hard to get? Have you ever said money doesn't grow on trees? Have you ever associated people like you almost never being rich? Whatever people like you means, whatever your identification is. So you have to examine all of these beliefs. And then I want to talk about connection, because I told you guys, if you don't feel a connection with the formless substance, if you're more religious or more connected with God, that's absolutely okay, as long as it's not a punishing God that induces guilt and shame. You can work with the creator. You constantly have to feel this connection. So everything that we can manifest from the quantum has to do with the fact that it's all one. It's only one. Us and the creator are one, of course, at different degrees of power. You and I are one. This world is one. And so it's always in a state of flow. And it's always shifting circumstances, conditions, and people to come into our life that it can be rearranged in a way that you couldn't think of. So the connectedness to the space, to the formless, to God, has to be present a few times a day in your head for this to work out for you. Either this absolute understanding that we're all one, either this absolute faith that God loves you and He is in the process of making this for you, either this absolute understanding that there's a neutral machine that executes on your instruction. All of this. Yasmina, you're in Europe? Please don't ask me personal questions, guys. The reason I don't talk too much about my personal life is because I don't want anything to influence what you're understanding from me. I don't want you to think it stems from a certain being raised a certain way, a certain tradition, a certain religion, a certain background, a certain, like, none of this. If this is for you, take it. If it's not for you, don't take it. I don't want you to be like, she's saying this because she's a Muslim, because she's a Hindu, because she's a Christian. I don't want that associated. It's not just religious. That's why I don't talk about many things, except like relations or things that, you know, are very relatable. No need to apologize, but this is like, if I don't answer a question, just leave it, please. Okay, I want to talk about money. Everybody wants to know more about money, produce more money. First of all, my question to you is, did you change your mind about where money comes from? I've only been talking about this for 2 years. Did you change your mind about where money comes? Where does it come from? That's the first and most important question you have to ask yourself. Where does it come from? And the only answer is, it comes from the source, okay? There's only one source of money. We talked about Dr. Joseph Murphy. We talked about how you need to forget all the ways in which you think money comes, you know, like your job, your investments, your spouse. All of these can be taken away from you in a second. From God, okay? Yasmina says. It's from one source. That's where money comes from. And it is hard to project sums of money right now to be returned to you. I'll tell you why. Because money is no longer a physical element in this game that we play, okay? In this reality simulation script, whatever you want to call it. It used to be. It used to be, right? It used to be gold. It used to be silver. Then it used to be coins. Then it used to be paper. And now it's none of this. It's no longer physical. Honestly, I take out of my bank account $200 a month. Maybe. I don't need any. I don't need. So the money is no longer physical at all. And what you need to do is, when you understand this, is there's good and bad in this. So the bad part is that you can't really set this amount, see it physically, see it in suitcases, see it flowing. And then but the good thing is that it's infinite, because it's not like when you're thinking of gold that's in the mountains, that's still finite. Okay, gold that can be mined, that's finite, but now it's infinite. It's really like, if it's digital, it's infinite. You're right. It's just numbers on a computer. Somebody can just change that numbers in your favor. And that's sort of how you have to think about it. So I want to offer perspective for people who be like, I had $10,000 debt, and I was really stressed and I was really worried, and I got a payment of exactly $10,000 from my insurance company from like 5 years ago that they said they'll never pay, and I just got this check in the mail and it was the exact amount. What happens when this is the exact amount that satisfied a need that you had? Like, why wasn't it 5,000? Why wasn't it 20,000 or 100,000? It was because that response was to quench your worry. Okay? And that's why you got exactly what you needed to quench that worry about your debt, about something that you needed done with exactly $10,000. It's not because you prompted the universe to send you $10,000. It's because the vibration you offered or the prayer you offered that this burden is removed from you, was removed from you, and it took $10,000. Right? So a lot of people, they write to me and they say, I had this thing happen and I manifested exactly 20 grand, exactly what I needed, but I can't do it again. I've tried to do it again and I can't do it again. It's not how it works. Okay. You don't project out there 10,000 and it comes to you. It's only responding to your vibration. This is why when people talk to me about money, I always tell you, if you could keep yourself in the vibration of the lifestyle, and it doesn't have to be some grand lifestyle, like Sally said, penthouse in New York and all this stuff. It doesn't have to be. But what's the lifestyle? I'm walking the streets of New York. I'm going to shows. I'm going to restaurants. I'm going to museums, which means what? What does that mean? It means I'm not out there working the night shift because I can't pay my rent. It means I have enough leisure time to be able to be in a museum when the museum is opened, right? That means I'm not working all the hours that the museum is open from 9 to 9. That means if I'm in restaurants, either like I'm loved or I'm able to pay the bill and all the stuff. This is what I mean when I say lifestyle. The lifestyle that implies you don't have these worries. It doesn't mean you're not going to have to work. It doesn't mean you're not going to have to contribute. But it's a lifestyle that affords you time for your fulfillments. I think I had a few questions that I don't want to skip. Before that, I want to talk about one more thing about money is the bill focus. Like you're focused on these bills that come every month. If at all possible, please put your bills on automatic payments, so they're not something you get and you open. Any bill that you can put on automatic payment is a win. If you're a woman who is alone and supporting herself alone, I'm going to repeat, you can't live within your means. You have to live well below your means. Okay? You cannot live paycheck to paycheck. You gotta live below your means. You can't be like, I'm getting my bill, can I pay this? It can't be that. That's too much of a stress to your system. Lisa has an affirmation here for you guys. I love it. All my bills are always paid full and on time. Ideally, all your bills should be paid in full. I've been paying my bills in full, I tell you guys, basically since after university. Everything's been paid in full. Do not incur credit card debt if at all possible. You got to live below your means if you're a woman on your own. Because why? Because you can't have that stress, that money stress. Can I pay this bill? You can't have that stress. It creates space, exactly like what Lisa says. Okay, let me go back a little bit and see if there's something here. Money turns up at your doorstep like cats. It chooses where and who it befriends it. I like that. I like this analogy. So all you have to do is love cats. Love cats, but I'm not sure that's a great analogy because it's not the love for money that brings money. But I love cats personally, so technically you create a person on paper and your ideal person and you attract them in. But only if you're the ideal person for them. You should focus on you. You should focus on what makes you happy and what you have to offer. But not in a sense that men tell you, what do you bring to the table? Not in that sense. In the sense of, I start my mindset in dating with every day that passes is a loss for a guy who is ready for a perfect wife, for a good wife. Okay, don't use the word perfect. There's nobody perfect. Right? Because that is my intention. My intention is contribution. I heard someone describe poverty as a disease that possesses people. What do you think? Yeah, I really think that there's more than enough for everybody in the world. Well, we know this, right? Because there was a study done, anyways, when I was growing up, and I think I might have worked on this in high school, where whatever is thrown away from all the developed countries could feed the entire world with leftover and still be left over, right? So it's just a matter of distribution. And this is what we're working on, really. We're working on distribution, but we're just not working in 3D. We're working in 5D. Hey, I know there's resources. Reorganize the game. The organization of the mind results in the organization of the game. Illness is an accident, somebody's asking. Somebody says there are people who are happy and feel worthy, but still get this illnesses and accidents. And I want to tell you, remember guys, there's two things in this life we don't control. We don't control life and death. And we don't control when we're born, and we don't control when you die. There's no such thing as he didn't live enough. He lived as much as it was allocated to him. You think it should be 85. Because, it's 85 right now as a collective consciousness. About maybe one day 85 will be way too young to die. It would be like 55 now, right? In fact, the death expectancy, the regular age used to be 72. That's why they retired people at 65. They figured we need to support them for like another 7 years. And then the medium age at which people die is 72, 73. Now, of course, is 92, 93. So retiring at 65, it doesn't make sense for a system to have people work for 30 years and then support them for another 30. That's the problem right now with retirement plans and everything. The money you contribute in retirement now has already been spent by the government, right? I don't know if people understand this. It's already been spent. And what the government's counting on is that new people come from behind and put that money back into the system so you can get paid when you're 65. But that age of 65 will have to be changed, I think, pretty soon. Because the system can't support 2 generations of retired people. How did we get here? Okay, so that's the life and death, right? And there are people who are happy and feel worthy. I want to tell you something. You can never estimate or think somebody's inner state. You can't. You think somebody's happy. You think, I emanate a certain way or stuff, but you can neither see nor understand, nor emulate my exact state right now. You can't. From outside, you're passing a judgment. Oh, they were happy and then they got into an accident. You have no idea what's in their head. You have no idea the emotions that they maybe struggled with. You have no idea the heartbreak before they were married and that they're happy now, let's say, that you assessed. You have no idea the stress and worry even people with money have about money. You have no idea what's going on inside of them. You're just looking from outside being like, oh, they're on these vacations and they're happy. And you don't know that. Don't make assessments about how other people feel inside. And don't try to discredit this connection, this work, by saying, oh, he was happy and he got into an accident anyway, so there's no point. You don't know if he was happy. You really don't. Maybe he was just happy for the last 2 years. But remember, all of our projections, they'll all manifest in time. We're not in control of that time. Sometimes that time becomes outside of our lifetime. That's a more esoterical discussion, but this is what happens. So don't spend any time worrying about why things happen to other people. What you need to convince yourself is that things that happen are in response to a complicated system that's mostly dictated by your vibration, but it's not only dictated by your vibration. You're part of if you're more religious, you can understand it. You're part of a sinful world. And even if you never sinned, which is impossible, you have a shared responsibility into the sins of the people who sin. Otherwise, we couldn't all be one. Do you understand? This is profound and unfair and unjust. And you're just angry that the system is not designed according to your ethics code. It's not designed the way you would design it. But you're in somebody else's world. You're in somebody else's game. And all you can do is understand the rules. Is it normal that you have bad days such as feeling low? Of course it's normal. Your job is to get yourself out of there as soon as possible. My preferred activity, I don't get like really low states, but for example, I'm very annoyed the fact that, look, it's May 5th and it's just been like this. where I live. Okay, it's just been like this. It's cold. I still need a jacket. It's still, so I'm always like reminded, you know, that's an ungrateful state. I woke up free of pain in a nice house, eating whatever I want. Like I always, but there's always things that will put us in a low, more depressing state. You gotta be in nature. You gotta be by the water. Take a hot shower if the weather isn't nice. Do something. Paint. Write. Do something that's creative to you that takes you out. So it's your job to take yourself out of your depressing state. Let's see. Let's see. Oh my God. What's this? I think you guys are having conversations with each other, which is great. I just don't want to interfere with it. Okay. If you had a question, put it now in the comments, because I can't really go back. It's just like too much back and forth conversation. But you know, that's kind of what you think about money. Remember, you always have to remember where it comes from. If you remember just one thing, is where does it come from? It's the most important limiting belief that people have, because people think it's not enough what I'm making right now. I need to work on this skill so I can be promoted in this career. I need to marry a rich guy. I need to boom, boom, boom. But really, that's saying money comes from the rich guy. Money comes from my boss. Money comes from the company. Money comes from a system where I always have to compete. That's what it says. Just keep your mind on the lifestyle and never link goals with money outcomes. Like, don't be like, I see myself in Paris having dinner at the Eiffel Tower as soon as I make $20,000 months. Never link a goal. If that's truly your goal, to have dinner at the Eiffel Tower, you will. Don't worry about how much money you're going to make in order to make that happen, because you're not the one who makes it happen anyways. How can I change the perspective to it's already done, not to look at it anymore in 3D? So it's already done is really misunderstood, I think. What that means to people, I think, is that already happened to me. But that's not what it's already done means. It's already done means if you've projected it into the form, remember, connection, I can't remember who asked this, but connection to the formless substance. It's already done means the formless substance has understood what you said. And we have many modalities via which we can communicate to the formless substance. We write, we ask for input, output, we ask to see a certain things, to manifest a certain number. We pray, for those of us who pray, I do pray. We have many modalities to connect. So to me, it's already done means I have been heard. And right now, if you're more religious, God is at work doing it. The formless substance is rearranging itself in order to put me in the right places at the right time to make this happen. Now, does this mean I don't have to do anything and I can just sit here in my car and wait for it to happen because it's already done? No, it means the opposite of that. It means I have to be so connected to this, to the formless substance where I input it, my desire, my intention, that now I have to pay attention how it's communicating to me where I should be, and what I should do, and who I should talk to, and what I should say. Right? It's not just that it takes time for 3D to catch up. If while this rearrangement is being done around me, I get into negative mode, I start receiving from people who are talking bad about where the economy is going and where politics are going and how bad it's getting in this country and how taxes are going to be raised and how young people can't afford homes, how it's all a hookup culture. And if all I'm hearing is this, the universe, what does it do? It just rearranges based on that. So you might have seen a glimpse of something coming to you, but right now it's completely switched. And you're like, oh, wait a second. It was like I was having a good feeling and now I'm having a bad feeling. Well, it's up to you to determine why you had a bad feeling. Where were you? What kind of energy did you pick up? That is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. Your responsibility is not just to ask. It's to listen for the answer. And it's to assess your inner state to be like, where am I at? Where am I at right now? If I'm feeling down or low, or why is that? Remember, worry is a sin. It's really a sin. It's really telling the system, you're not working right now. You're not working to my higher benefit. You're not working to rearrange. Everything is always works out all of the time. Worrying is a sin. It's the opposite instruction into the formless. Why are my desires projected onto others' relationships? For example, my ex got what I prayed for. That happens very often. I talk about it often too. It has to do with cords. It has to be with transmitting and receiving. Watch my latest video, for example. But you are always connected with cords to everybody that you've ever touched, especially in a sexual manner. If you have kids with them, that cord cannot be dissolved in this lifetime. But there's other modalities via which you can look at it and you can carve out your own energy system. What I tell people is never tell anyone your plans, ever, ever, ever. I'm assuming you didn't tell your plans to your ex. But listen, it could be worse. I had a story 2 years ago. It's always like, I shouldn't be laughing. This woman created the perfect man, including what he looks like. And he had jet black hair and blue eyes and a certain height and a certain thing. And then her best friend met him. And she said she recognized him when she was introduced to him. And she couldn't believe it. And within 2 months, the best friend got engaged to him, to this guy. Yeah, it's like this. You have cords with your best friend. You have cords with, just you got to remember, just because it happened to your ex doesn't mean it can't happen to you. It's not limited. The worst thing you can do is be like, that's it. It was just that one man. It was for me. And now she got it. And now there's nobody for me. Because this is what happens. What happens is people start to think of this limited resources. And of course, what the universe does, it says, you're right. Like anything you say to the universe says, you're right. Anything. It's like, she got it. She got it. Yeah, okay. Oh my God, I had a cord with my best friend. Okay, maybe I shouldn't focus on creating the ideal man and have him circulate around my friends, the energetic format, because he might be a better match to my friend, who's probably has a stronger force of attraction of a good husband right now than me. Maybe she doesn't have as many traumas as many. So maybe instead what I should focus on is creating the feeling of being loved. Not creating the perfect man on paper, not creating his height and weight and all of this so that I recognize him, but creating a feeling that a man can induce in me that I recognize. That's totally different. Totally different. I got a question on relationships on my YouTube channel. I think it was from Sandra. 1 second. I want to look here. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. So last live we talked about relationships, and I talked to women about making a box of things that is their needs, and they're not going to ever violate their needs by accepting less. And this is kind of a theme that I'm working with. And Sandy says, Mona, this is great. Should we also ask our partner what is in their box? My answer would be only if you are in a lesbian relationship, you should do that. Otherwise, there's no need, because in every man's box, there's only 2 things. They want a woman they're attracted to. And then they want, ideally, the same woman to be pleasant to them, towards them. That's it. Everything else that they would tell you is in their box is a mirror of you. Like if I ask my partner, my husband, what's in his box, I'm sure he will say things that mirror me, right? He would be like, well, I want somebody tall and pretty and smart and funny. And he would start listing everything that I am, right? So of course, that's exactly what he would say, or how I see myself. But really, what's in his box when he was dating, and I'm 100% convinced this is in every man, he must be ideally very attracted to her, and ideally she's very pleasant to him. I'm not gonna state the basics. Obviously, she shouldn't cheat on him, she shouldn't hit him, she shouldn't, like the weird stuff, right? But there's nothing else in their box. It's very, very simple, right? It's incredibly simple. Worry about your box, because if you meet what's in his box, if he's very attracted to you, there's nothing he wouldn't do. Believe me. You're welcome. Yeah, don't bother asking him what's in his box unless you want a description of you. And then you'd be like, is he telling the truth? Or is he saying what I want to hear? Worry about just self. See, we lived so many years in our lives, like whatever age you are, minus maybe 10. But after the age of 10, pretty much just by observation, you lived as a woman learning what men want versus understanding your own energy. Our energy as women is different. Okay? It's different. So if you didn't spend time to understand your energy system and what feels good to you, that means, what does it mean? That means the box, right? The box is just the 3D expression of my energy, right? Because the way I feel loved would be different than maybe the way you need to feel loved. What's in our box? Other than, the major theme, protector, provider, prioritizer, that would make every woman happy, of course. But the small differences, variances in those things, what they mean to us specifically, they would be completely violating. Some of these will put you in a different vibrational state. You know what I mean? So we spend so many years understanding what men want. I already told you what men want. They want, focus on yourself, so you be, first of all, ideally financially independent, ideally, okay? Like not financially independent necessarily that you have to bring home 100 grand a year or 200 grand a year, but to be like, I can walk out of this relationship all the time, anytime. If something happens, if he hits me, if he cheats on me, I can walk today. You should always be in that position somehow. And then spend a lot of time taking care of yourself, because they want somebody you'd be attracted to, but you should take care of yourself, because this should come natural. It should come natural, because if you love yourself, you take care of yourself, right? You take care of what you eat, you take care of your hair, you take care, you like yourself, you like what you see in the mirror, you take care of yourself. And once they get a woman who does that, then they resent them for being too controlling and smothering them. What are we talking about? There are many that get that, but still want the woman to do house chores and be their maid and mom. Yeah, so you have to have sort of, hold on a second, I gotta match something or they're in my life. What does it say here? Select 2 objects. Okay, I did. Yeah, look, that's, it just depends, right? It depends on, that's why I'm telling you, you need to spend a lot of time understanding your own energy system. Like, my house was always clean before him. I cook because I care about what I eat, right? It's not necessarily the case for everybody. And I don't cook every day, and it's never a pressure and it's never an obligation. But the main idea is this: the man who comes into my life has to increase my standard of living, not decrease it. So if I was cooking 3 times a week already, cooking 3 times a week could not be a problem, right? But starting to having to cook 7 days a week or 6 days a week, that would be a burden all of a sudden, right? Because now he's not increasing the quality of my life. If my house was clean, I don't mind taking care of whatever I was taking care of before, right? But there's no way now I have to do extra work because I'm living with him and there's socks on the floor or something crazy like that. Like, a man should not add to my burden. Unless you agree with him that, okay, the way he relieves your burden is you don't want to work right now and you don't have to. And in exchange for that, you're going to cook 5 days a week. In any event, it has to be something you want, not because the situation is like this. And it always has to increase your quality of life. Remember, any relationship you're in with a man has to increase the quality of your life. Otherwise, it takes something from you. Let's see. Take care of inner peace. Yeah, if the relationship doesn't give you inner peace, it's not the right relationship, or you're doing something wrong. Many times in a relationship that makes you feel in a state of tumult, many times it's not him, it's you. Believe me when I say this, okay? Because I think you guys trust me enough that when I say this, you understand what I mean. It's you. Like, he's really not that interested, you know? He's okay if you offer him sex. He's okay to come see you, but he's gonna text you 3 times a week, you know? He's gonna text you. For him, it's great. It's a great relationship. Meanwhile, the tumult inside of you, that's how men are. My needs aren't being met. Why am I? But it's on you. Isn't it? So many times when you don't feel inner peace, ask yourself, is he really doing something specific to, you know, pester me or whatever you said? Or is it my expectations, my needs not being met? Your inner peace mostly has to do with your needs not being met. That's really what it is. I just want to see if I took any screenshot of anything else I want to talk about for this live. I was hoping to get a little bit into the body. Oh, another queen in my group, when I posted this meditation about creating the ideal partner, she said, I am a bit disturbed. I did this meditation last night, and this morning my ex-boyfriend from a decade ago liked my dating app profile. I don't want him. He has almost none of the qualities I want in a partner. And I replied to her, it's not about him. Just ask yourself what piece of yourself have you left there with him 10 years ago, because that piece must be reintegrated. And I can't stress this enough. If you put an intention out there, like you did a specific meditation, and right now what's returned to you, it's something that'd be like, why is this specific thing, like it's puzzling to you, it's something from your past that's really puzzling to you. And that could be not necessarily about love. It could be like you're looking for a new job and somebody from your old job is contacting you just to see how you are, or something like that. Always understand it's never about that person or them or in response. What the universe is responding to is your unfinished business. There's unfinished business there. Okay? If you put in your mind even that you want the ideal man, but all of a sudden that best friend of yours who stole your boyfriend 20 years ago, you see her face on Facebook, know that that's an association. It's an association with what part of you have lost or was disturbed from its original placement back then. And that's the reason why you can't move forward right now. Always kind of make these associations with the formless. I was hoping to have more time to talk about body noise, but we'll talk about that next time. And remember, like, everything is always in motion if you project and keep your vibration. But what happens is we start to have doubt, not because we doubt the universe, but every time you have doubt, you have to assess yourself if you're trying to determine the how, because this is what happens. I have doubt. Why? Because I have doubt I can make it happen. And you're right, you can't make it happen. You can't make it happen. Right? I have doubt. I don't know if I can get this, if I can get this promotion, if I can move to New York, if I can get a husband, if I can get... You're having doubts about you making it happen. Always remember, right? The universe can make anything happen, anything that's in your lifeline. And marriage is in everybody's lifeline at any age now, right? Because we all fall into collective consciousness. Before, if you're 80 and you wanted to get married in 1950, that wasn't possible for you in your lifeline. But today it is. Today it is. I think there's been a 300% increase in statistics for marriage after the age of 60. That's nice. I like that. All right, let's put our hands together for the 369. I am a winner. I tap 3 times, 6 times, 9 times with the affirmation I am a winner. And then I end the live. I'm live every Monday at 12 p.m. and all my lives are posted on my YouTube channel. They're all educational. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.